There is a narrative, buried deep in the Old Testament, that modern pulpits conveniently ignore. It's not a sanitized tale of faith, and it's certainly not a story of redemption. It is a psychological thriller, and a literal ghost story, complete with an outlawed witch, an underground seance, and a monarch so entirely consumed by terror that he commits the ultimate treason against his own theology. This is the day the Bible recorded a highly successful, strictly forbidden invocation of the dead. Welcome to King Saul's fatal mistake. To understand the sheer magnitude of this failure, you have to look at the clinical reality of Saul's situation. The Philistine army, a massive, technologically superior war machine, is amassed right on his border at Shunem. Saul is staring down the barrel of his own annihilation. He does what any desperate leader would do. He seeks military intelligence from the divine. He prays. He looks for signs, dreams, the Urim, the prophets. But he gets absolutely nothing, just a deafening, suffocating, unbearable silence. God has cut the communication lines. The heavens are completely shut. Absolute desperation makes hypocrites out of the best of men. Years prior, Saul had aggressively purged Israel of all mediums, spiritists, and necromancers. He made it a capital offense. To consult the dead was to mock the living God. But when the Almighty leaves you on red, panic sets in. Saul seeks out the very shadows he tried to eradicate. He strips away his royal armor, the insignia of his power. He disguises himself in the filthy rags of a commoner, wrapping himself in the cover of night, and sneaks behind enemy lines. He travels the treacherous miles to a town called Endor, risking capture, just to find a whisper in the dark. He locates a woman living off the grid, a necromancer, hiding from Saul's own executioners. He knocks on her door in the dead of night. He demands a seance. He even swears an oath on the very God who just abandoned him, that she won't be harmed. It is a textbook example of cognitive dissonance. "Whom shall I bring up for you?" the woman asks. Saul doesn't blink. "Bring up Samuel, the dead prophet, the man who originally anointed him king, and the very man who pronounced his downfall." This isn't a parlor trick. It isn't a scam. The ritual actually works. The woman peers into the supernatural rift and lets out a blood-curdling, visceral scream. In that split second, the veil drops. She realizes she's been played. The man standing before her is the king who ordered her kind to be slaughtered. But that's not what terrifies her. It's the sheer power of what she sees manifesting from the ground. Saul, blind to the apparition, demands to know what's happening. She stammers, "I see a divine being coming up out of the earth, an old man, wrapped in a robe." Saul knows instantly. He collapses, falling flat on his face in the dirt, paralyzed by a mixture of reverence and absolute dread. And then, the dead speak. The veil of mortality is breached. 1 Samuel, chapter 28, verse 15, records the chilling, impatient words of the deceased prophet. "Why have you disturbed me by bringing me up?" Listen carefully to the pathetic tragedy in Saul's response. "I am in great distress, for the Philistines are warring against me, and God has turned away from me and answers me no more." He bypassed heaven and went straight to the underworld, just to hear a familiar voice. But the dead offer zero comfort. Samuel doesn't coddle him. He delivers the most brutal, clinical, and irreversible verdict imaginable. He confirms that the kingdom has been ripped from Saul's hands and given to David. And then he drops a terrifying prophecy, a definitive end date. "Tomorrow, you and your sons shall be with me." It is a death sentence, pronounced straight from the grave, and it is flawlessly executed. Saul doesn't die a hero's death in battle the next day. Wounded and terrified, he falls on his own sword, utterly destroyed by the weight of his own psychological collapse. And here's the part no one wants to admit. Saul wasn't a monster. He was a man who reached a moment where heaven went silent, and he couldn't handle it. No answer, no sign, no direction, just silence. And in that silence, he didn't wait, he didn't trust, he didn't endure. He reacted. He broke. He ran toward the first voice that would answer him, even if it came from the darkness. That's what makes this story dangerous, because it's not about a king. It's about what happens when a human being refuses to face silence. How far would you go just to hear something back? How quickly would you abandon what you believe just to feel in control again? Saul didn't fall in a single moment. He eroded, slowly, quietly, until desperation made the decision for him. And the tragedy isn't just that he died, it's that his end began the moment he chose a voice over the truth.
And that choice destroyed him.